2 April 2025. Malam hari ini, selama 1 jam ke depan, para pendengar bisa juga menonton lewat YouTube kanal Radio BBM FM. Kita punya tamu yang sangat istimewa malam hari ini. Tamu yang datang dari jauh, tetapi mereka sedang ada di Yogyakarta. Nanti kita akan tanya kenapa mereka ada di Yogyakarta dan siapa dia. Nah, kalau ke para pendengar atau para penonton YouTube ini melihat poster, nah pasti sudah melihat siapa beliau dan namanya siapa. Namanya yang satu yang itu Pak Paris Mercurio. Nanti kita tanya mengapa Paris, mengapa Mercurio. Kemudian satunya ini juga menarik, Mia Bird. Nanti kita akan tanya mengapa namanya Mia, mengapa namanya Bird. Ya kan, bird itu kan kalau dalam bahasa Jawa kan burung, ya gitu kan. Itu ya Pak Jali ya. Oke, tapi sebelum kita mulai, ini ada pesan dari studio Radio BBM. Nah, saya akan bacakan pesan dari studio Radio BBM. Jadi, siaran Radio BBM ini dipancarkan melalui platform radio streaming lewat radio.garden, radio.net, zeno.fm, kemudian theonestop.radio.com dengan kata kunci saluran BBM FM. Nah, khusus seri podcast atau siniar juga disiarkan di kanal YouTube Radio BBM. Nah, para pendengar dan para penonton, bagaimana kalau para pendengar dan penonton itu ingin mendukung keberlangsungan Radio BBM? Nah, ini caranya. Donasi tombol terima kasih atau super thanks di setiap video YouTube Radio BBM. Kemudian donasi melalui website saverio.co/radio BBM. Nah, khusus donatur Saveria, ketika podcast sedang berlangsung akan diundi mendapatkan voucher buku gratis dari penerbit Garuda Waca. Nah, bagaimana kalau ingin mempromosikan produk untuk ditampilkan di layar atau interior studio ketika podcast berlangsung? Silakan menghubungi nomor 0856 2856 610 atau DM ke Instagram Radio BBM. Nah, pastikan juga Anda subscribe di kanal YouTube Radio BBM FM. Para penonton ke YouTube Radio BBM FM, malam hari ini kita akan selama kira-kira 50 menit akan omong-omong dengan tamu saya, dan temanya kalau bahasa Inggrisnya itu Practicing Arts in Oberlin College, tetapi bahasa Indonesianya itu berkesenian. Nah, Practicing Arts itu berkesenian di Oberlin College. Tapi Oberlin College itu di mana? Apakah itu hanya di sekitar Minomartani? Enggak. Itu nanti akan kita tanya pada tamu saya. Kita perkenalan dulu. Di sebelah kiri saya ini Paris Mercurio, kemudian yang di sebelah sana dengan warna coklat itu Mia Bird. Selamat malam Mbak Paris, Mbak Mia.
Selamat malam.
Oke, louder ya, ya, harus keras. Ya. Baik, nah jadi silakan nanti Mbak Paris memperkenalkan diri lebih jauh kepada para pendengar dan juga para penonton di kanal YouTube Radio BBM FM. Silakan, Mbak.
Oke. Selamat malam semuanya. Nama saya Paris. Saya dari Amerika dan saya sudah tinggal di Jogja kira-kira 1 tahun 8 bulan. Also, I want to say hi to my family at home who might be watching.
Sudah?
Sudah,
nanti kita akan tanya lagi further about you later.
Okay.
Now next, Mbak Mia.
Selamat malam semuanya. Nama saya Mia. Saya juga dari Amerika. Tinggal di Indonesia kira-kira 8 bulan. Also, hello, Mom, Dad, and Curtis, and Winston, if you're watching at home.
Oke. Nah, tadi saya punya promise kepada viewers ya. Paris Mercurio. Why Paris? Why Mercurio?
Okay, so my first name is Paris because my parents got engaged on the top of the Eiffel Tower. But really, they just couldn't agree on a name for me. So this was kind of the compromise, was to name me Paris. And my last name is Mercurio. Well, there's no real reason. It's just my family name, but it does mean Mercury in Italian and Spanish.
Oke, jadi para penonton dan para pendengar, kenapa namanya Paris? Karena bapak ibunya Pak Paris itu dulu bertunangan di Menara Eiffel.
Iya.
Iya, di Paris. Jadi mereka memilih nama Paris untuk anak perempuannya ini. Tetapi untuk Mercurio, kita tahu Mercurio itu ada dari Mercury, tetapi dia nggak tahu alasannya apa, kenapa bapaknya memberi nama Mercurio. Oke, terima kasih Mbak Paris. Next, Mia Bird. Silakan.
Okay, so my first name is Mia. It's actually a funny story because my parents really wanted to name me a unique name, a name that no one else had. And then the year that I was born, everyone was named Mia. All of the babies started to have the name Mia. And then my last name, Bird. This is my family name. I'm not quite sure why the name came about, but my dad's family is originally from England many, many years ago, and bird is an English word.
English word.
It's an English word.
And Mia?
Sorry?
Mia? Is it from English?
The origin.
Also Mia means mine in Italian and Spanish.
Mine or mine?
Mine?
Oh, mine.
Mine.
Okay.
So technically it could be my bird.
It would be flipped.
It would be flipped, yeah.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Mia. Sekarang mungkin karena tadi Mbak Mia dan Mbak Paris berasal dari Oberlin College. Oberlin College is not somewhere around this place, so I think it's better maybe one of you can tell what is Oberlin College, when, what is it?
Yeah.
So we talk more about. Okay.
So
Is it going to answer?
I can start and
Yeah.
you can add if you want. Oberlin College is a small college in Ohio in the US. So there are a lot of larger universities in Ohio as well, but Oberlin College is quite small, like around 3,000 students. And it's a liberal arts college, so it's a bit different from like a classic larger university. Do you want to?
Yeah, so a liberal arts college means that the students that go to that college are required to take classes in a wide variety of subjects. So everyone has a major subject that they focus in, but all the students are required to take classes in faculties or departments outside of their major as well. And the goal of that kind of education is to get a more diverse education, to learn about different subjects. Yeah.
Ya, jadi para pendengar dan juga para penonton, jadi Oberlin College itu ada di Amerika Serikat, itu di negara bagian Ohio. Oberlin itu kotanya kecil, cuma 3.000 penduduk. Itu pun kalau ada mahasiswa, if school days, if not then mungkin less than that ya. Jadi kotanya kecil sekali. How many traffic lights now?
We figured out there's about 10
10.
traffic lights
Yeah.
in the town.
Okay, good. Now the Oberlin is getting bigger, yeah, because in 97 when I was there, only 4. Okay.
It's expanded a bit since
A
then.
little.
Okay,
Just a
okay,
little.
Okay. Ya, jadi itu perkenalan tentang Oberlin College, dan Oberlin College itu sebuah perguruan tinggi yang dikenal dengan liberal arts ya. Jadi para mahasiswa itu boleh bebas memilih subjek-subjek apapun yang ada di sana, karena di Oberlin College itu tidak membatasi mahasiswa untuk mau belajar apapun. Tentu ada aturannya. Itu sedikit tentang Oberlin College. Saya pernah ke sana 2 kali, tahun 97 dan 2008. Okay, now, why are you in Yogyakarta? Mbak Perez.
Yeah, so we are both here as part of the same program. It is called Oberlin Shansi. So we're both Oberlin Shansi Fellows. So this is a program that's available specifically for recent graduates of Oberlin College. And they have a very long-standing exchange with UGM, Gajah Mada University in Jogja. So for quite a while, there have been Shansi Fellows. Do you want to elaborate on what we do?
So there's been Shansi Fellows who come to Jogja, live here for 2 years, and assist in different faculties at UGM. So specifically, we tutor English literature students and students in CRCS.
Oke.
Yeah.
Jadi ke Oberlin College itu sudah punya hubungan lama sekali dengan Universitas Gajah Mada, dan mereka berdua itu istilahnya fellow. Ya. Tugasnya itu 2 tahun. Setiap 2 tahun ganti. Nah, yang saya tahu itu Oberlin College sudah kenal dengan UGM itu since 1978. Itu saya masih ingat itu. Ada berbagai fellows yang saya kenal dan saya ingat. Nah, mereka di UGM itu mereka membantu sebagai tutor atau teaching assistant ya. Itu untuk bahasa Inggris, tapi juga untuk mahasiswa di Fakultas Ilmu Budaya. Mereka membantu untuk sastra Inggris, dan juga ada mata kuliah creative writing juga ya. Itu kira-kira seperti itu. Dan tadi dikatakan Mbak Mia baru 8 bulan ya. Kemudian Paris berapa bulan tadi?
1 tahun 8 bulan.
1 tahun 8 bulan. 2 more months.
Yeah.
You have to go back home.
Yes, I will have to go back to the US in 2 months. Very sad.
Oke, ya. Saya mendengar, I heard that both of you are very active in performing arts when you're still students at the Oberlin College. Now, since when have you been involved into arts? Yeah.
Sure, I can talk first.
Okay.
Yeah, so in performing arts specifically, I started dancing when I was really young. My parents put me in dance classes. Starting maybe when I was 3 years old. In elementary school I danced, and then during middle school I started to focus more on ballet. I continued dancing in high school and university as well. Yeah.
Okay, and how about you?
For me, it was a bit interesting how I ended up where I ended up. But when I was a child, I was very interested in like music and specifically singing. So when I was very young, I spent a while like classically training as an opera singer. And when I got to the time to go to high school, I really wanted to go to this performing arts high school. but there was no music program, no singing program, only acting, dance, and technical theater. So I ended up applying to do technical theater there because I just really wanted to go.
Okay, what is technical theater?
So it's like everything that happens in a theater performance that isn't the people on stage. So whether that's lighting, sound design, costumes, props, but also like stage management, organization.
Oke. Baik, para pendengar dan juga para penonton, Mbak Mia tadi dia seorang penari. Sejak kecil dia belajar menari dan tertarik dengan balai. Sampai sekarang masih menari. Nanti kita akan tanya lagi apa kegiatannya. Nah, Mbak Paris ini ternyata apa itu? Ternyata Mbak Paris itu belajar menyanyi. Iya betul ya?
Yeah.
You sing it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I used to, not anymore.
Yeah, but you can prove that you.
Well,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, maybe if there is apa itu from the audience, spectators wants you to sing, then maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Oke, tetapi kemudian juga Mbak Paris ini masuk ke teater, tetapi bukan sebagai pemain, not as a performer. Karena apa? Imagine, bayangkan kalau semua orang ingin jadi performers on stage. Lalu siapa yang mengurus lighting, siapa yang mengurus sound system dan sebagainya, administration. Jadi Mbak Paris ini masuk di dunia teater itu mungkin how do you say backstage or what?
Backstage, yeah.
Karena ini penting sekali. Saya masih ingat ada teman saya dulu di rombongan teater itu dia anggota teater, tetapi dia tidak pernah perform, tidak pernah on stage. Dia tugasnya apa? Merebus air dan kemudian menanak nasi untuk para performer pada saat latihan itu. Jadi saya kira ternyata di Amerika juga ada yang dia tidak di panggung tetapi juga dia membantu di backstage. Ini penting sekali. Oke, nah jadi ke Mbak Mia. You mentioned about ballet. That's maybe paling Anda suka. You like that most. Ballet, okay. Now, only ballet or other dances that you do?
So in middle school, I started to focus mostly on ballet, and then when I started high school, I also went to performing arts high school. My teachers introduced me to different forms of dance like contemporary, modern, experimental dance, those types of things. So I started to do that, and I also started to choreograph my own work, create my own pieces. And then when I went to Oberlin College, I was introduced to a whole new variety of dances like hip-hop, K-pop even, and different cultural dances like classical Indian dances, dances from Latin America, West African dance forms, a whole variety.
Okay, do you still dance?
I
mean, when you're still in Oberlin.
In Oberlin, I danced all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
Okay, how if someday we invite you to dance here at the Balai Budaya Minomartani?
I would be honored. I would love to.
Okay, so what do you have in mind, the dance that you might present here?
Okay, let's see. If I were to present a dance, I would choose in the style of contemporary or modern dance because that's what I'm most familiar with. Probably something of my own creation because I wouldn't want to take someone else's work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're also a choreographer.
I have choreographed. I would not call myself a choreographer.
But you have choreographed.
I have.
But you said that you created some dances.
Yeah. When I was at Oberlin College, I remember it was during my third year, sixth semester, I decided to create my own piece to perform within the dance department showcase. And I invited 5 other dancers, so including me, there were 6 dancers performing this piece. It was in contemporary modern style, and it was about, the title is IFS. IFS. It stands for Internal Family Systems, and it's actually a type of talk therapy, theory. And the idea behind it is that each individual person has sub-personalities that interact, and I wanted to showcase my own sub-personalities in dance, and so each of my dancers performed a different sub-personality of myself. And yeah, I showcased that within the dance department at Oberlin.
Oke, jadi Mbak Mia ini memang dulunya mulai dari balet. Kemudian Mbak Mia itu datang ke sekolah tentang performing arts. Nah, dia belajar dari para instruktur. Nah, ketika dia sampai atau masuk di Oberlin College, Mbak Mia ini melihat ada berbagai macam tarian, macam-macam. Ini yang kemudian Mbak Mia mulai terbuka, tidak hanya pada balet saja, tetapi juga tarian-tarian yang lain. Tadi dikatakan juga Mbak Mia ini kalau menari ini menarikan tarian yang sudah yang diciptakan oleh orang lain. Nah, tapi kadang-kadang Mbak Mia juga punya ciptaan sendiri. Satu hal yang tadi disebutkan adalah yang berjudul IFS, ya, Internal
Family Systems.
Internal sistem keluarga internal. Di sini ada kira-kira yang mau dipertunjukkan Mbak Mia tadi adalah ada aturan-aturan sendiri di dalam keluarga. Di setiap keluarga punya satu semacamnya freedom lah untuk berpikir dan sebagainya. Nah, saya tanya Mbak Mia, nanti suatu kali kalau misalnya diundang untuk main di BBM, apakah bersedia? Ini tadi ada teman saya Mbak Mia, itu dia seorang curator. Nah, Mbak Mia mengatakan, oh kami akan sangat terhormat bila saya bisa menari di sini. Oke. Mbak Mia, mungkin itu dicatat itu nanti satu kali. Nah, sekarang ke Mbak Paris. Sebelum Mbak Paris sampai di Jogja, apakah Anda juga selalu aktif di dalam theater activity?
Yeah, from when I started learning about technical theater, when I began in high school, I got to learn about a lot of different parts of it because there are so many different things that go into putting on a show. I got to try a lot of different things and see what I liked the most. So in high school, I learned about like lighting design. I learned about sound design. I learned about set building, props. Those things maybe were less of my kind of thing. I don't really like having to use power tools.
Okay.
Costuming, and yeah, lots of other stuff. But what I ended up liking the most was stage management. So,
what did you say again?
Stage management.
Stage management. So, could you please describe
Yeah.
what is stage management in Oberlin?
In Oberlin specifically? Well, I think in Oberlin, the stage manager role is usually pretty similar to what it would be in like a professional show because the Oberlin theater scene is trying to prepare people for like professional careers in theater. So they're pretty similar, but usually what a stage manager does is they're kind of the like external brain of the director. So they're doing all of the like extra managerial things, the administrative tasks that go into making the show that the director doesn't want to have to worry about because they need to focus on like the creative part of it. So they're dealing with communication between the actors, the director, the other tech theater departments like props, set design, sound design, lighting. They're making the schedules, telling people when to be at rehearsal, where to be, and just making sure that everything runs smoothly, like anything else that needs to happen as well.
Okay. So many works.
Yeah.
Which that you didn't like? from all the job description, you have described the jobs, yeah?
Of being a stage manager?
Yeah, which you didn't like?
Well, I think for me, the
Yes.
hardest thing is to like have to be strict with people or to sometimes, you know, if people are not showing up to rehearsal on time or there are some deadlines that haven't been met, I don't like to have to have like strong words or confront people. So that's the hardest part for me.
Okay, so I understand that in Oberlin there are lots of people coming from different parts of the United States and also countries. And cross-cultural understanding is something which I think is very important when you have to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Could you please tell the spectators or the listeners about cross-cultural understanding among the members of the dance community or theater community inside the campus?
Sure, I can go first. Yeah, I agree. I think cross-cultural understanding is very important. It's important to be aware that people come from different cultures. People have different understanding of what is respectful or what is not respectful, especially within the dance community. Because dance is so tied with culture, pretty much all cultures of the world have a dance form that is unique to that culture. It's important to be aware of that and, you know, not take someone else's culture, not appropriate someone else's culture in that way. And then also when you are communicating with people, even within the United States, we have different cultures. People from New York speak differently than people from California. You know, people from New York might be more direct, more blunt, where people from the Midwest might be more nice or soft-spoken. And so being aware of those differences is definitely important when it comes to communicating.
Yeah.
And there's also international students at Oberlin who come from other countries and being aware of that difference too. Yeah.
Oke, jadi para pemirsa, jadi pemahaman lintas budaya ini juga sering menjadi masalah di dalam komunitas di kampus, dalam hal ini komunitas tari, karena ya anggotanya datang dari berbagai tempat di Amerika, ada yang dari New York, ada yang dari
Midwest.
Midwest, kemudian dari tempat lain ya, seperti kita di Jawa saja ada orang dari Surabaya, ada dari Jakarta, dari Jogja. Kalau bertemu, wah ini karena perbedaan budaya ini kadang-kadang bisa ada sedikit masalah. Itu ternyata ada juga di sana, juga di Oberlin kan ada mahasiswa-mahasiswa internasional yang ketika dia membawakan tari dan sebagainya ini ya harus seperti di negaranya nih ukur sekali. Oke, terima kasih Mbak Mia. Pak Paris, so you and your friends are behind the stage, but do you also have problems in cross-cultural communication and so on? Because
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what Mia said applies also to theater, like backstage and on the stage. Like whatever is being performed is also kind of coming from the people backstage in some way, or we're all working together. So I think with theater, of course, everyone who comes to Oberlin to do theater is bringing a different perspective, and that perspective is usually tied to their culture or their background. So I think it's always part of the performance, and often, Oberlin is a place where I think people feel comfortable to share like parts of themselves and express themselves through like their creative pursuits like dance and theater. So I think that people's like background and culture come out a lot in performances on campus. And so I think it's always important for the people backstage who are helping bring those things onto the stage to be aware of like people's experiences and make sure that, no one is like disrespecting someone else's experience.
okay, Mbak Paris, I'm still not satisfied.
Sorry?
So could you please give one example?
An example.
Yes, and also later about
Well, I think maybe this isn't a very specific example, but I think working in theater, everyone who comes to Oberlin usually has their own like background of the way that things work, like in the high school performances that they've done. And so then sometimes when you come to the Oberlin theater community, there are different understandings of maybe how the rehearsals are going to work, how the stage manager will communicate with people. And so sometimes there can be some tension or confusion there. So that's one thing that can be difficult to navigate. Yeah.
Any solution usually?
I think that it's important for people to be like open about how they feel, and instead of just keeping their thoughts to themselves and like getting frustrated, it's good to, bring up a problem if you have it. Yeah. And just let everyone talk about their emotions before they get to, before they kind of fester inside.
Okay. Yeah. So could you give just one example?
I have an example of like a cross-cultural exchange.
Yeah.
So at Oberlin, there are many student organizations, and there's one student organization, one student dance club called Movimiento, which when I was in my last year at Oberlin, this student organization was managed by an international student from Latin America. And the student basically held workshops every week or every 2 weeks, showcasing different dance styles of Latin America. So like 1 week there was a workshop on bachata, the next week was samba from Brazil, so on and so forth. And she basically would teach the rhythms that were involved in the dance, the different steps that were involved in the dance, and anyone on campus could come and take these like quick workshop classes. They were maybe an hour to 2 hours long, and learn about that dance style originating from Latin America. And I thought that was such a cool opportunity to learn from a student also, not necessarily from an actual class like this, not from an actual class held by the college, but a student organization.
This is a problem?
Is there a problem? No?
Oke, jadi ke para pendengar dan juga para penonton, yang namanya lintas budaya itu pasti kadang-kadang menimbulkan tapi ya, dimanapun, tidak hanya di Amerika tetapi juga di sini pun juga. Karena apa? Kreativitas orang itu kadang-kadang terganggu ketika ada orang lain yang ya sedikit tidak cocok ya. Karena juga saya paham benar seorang seniman ya usia kapanpun itu kadang-kadang he or she is very egoistic. This is my opinion as an artist. Usually she or he is very egoistic. If not like this, then no. Sometimes maybe. Yeah, I don't know what is happening in the United States, but that's also my experience. Okay, but yeah, what dance performance or event that you will never forget?
Okay, good question.
You will never forget meaning I like that or opposite.
Okay, so my first year at Oberlin was 2020 to 2021. So it was during COVID, or like just getting out of the COVID pandemic. And so my first year in college was pretty sad. You know, it was hard to interact with people. It was hard to get a good university experience. But during my first year, there was a senior in the dance department named Evelyn, and she was a double major. So she majored in dance and neuroscience, both. And she created a senior dance capstone work, which was like 40 minutes of her own dance work being performed. And she invited me to be a part of this work. And this was, I can never forget it because it was such a good opportunity during my first year coming out of COVID to be able to perform again. I hadn't performed in a while. And also meet people in the dance community, in the dance department that I hadn't really had the chance to do before that. And it was kind of strange because the live audience that we performed for was just chairs, and they were set 6 feet apart because, and there was only maybe like 30 people who could come because they were set so far apart. And we had to wear N95 masks, so it was kind of hard to breathe while we were dancing. It was a very strange experience. Looking back on it, it was a strange experience. In the moment, it felt normal because that was the norm. But she also, because it was during COVID, she also had us perform just for the camera, just for a film that she could send to her family or send so that we could send it to our families because we couldn't have a lot of audience members watch it. So that was also a great opportunity that we were able to showcase it like in live via camera, like we are right now.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of just for a live audience.
Jadi Mbak Mia ini pengalaman yang tidak mungkin lupa itu ketika COVID itu tahun 2000 dan hafal karena tahun-tahun itu tahun-tahun pertamanya Mbak Mia, jadi ada pertunjukan suka sekali tetapi penontonnya itu sangat sedikit. Sangat sedikit. Itu terjadi, that happens here. I think everywhere di sini juga itu terjadi. Jadi kami sempat vakum untuk beberapa bulan sampai COVID itu bisa mereda, dan tetapi kami tetap dengan istilahnya online performance dengan YouTube tetap main, meskipun juga tetap pakai
Yeah.
Emas sekali, kadang-kadang lucu sekali.
Yeah,
Ya.
trying to dance.
Iya. Jadi bagaimana Mbak Paris? Apa itu what event that you will never forget?
Yeah. So this one is, I will never forget it because it still haunts me. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, this thing that happened to me 3 years ago. When I was in my last semester at Oberlin, I was the stage manager of my friend's senior capstone project. So similar to what Evelyn was doing, that Mia participated in. It was a play that she did not write it herself, my friend, but she was directing it and kind of bringing everything together. And she asked me to stage manage it. And I was very nervous because it's a big job to do for someone else's capstone that they're receiving a grade on. So I thought if I make a mistake, it could affect her grade, right? So it won't affect me, my grade, but it will affect her. So I was very nervous, and we did the whole rehearsal process. It went mostly very well. We got to the shows. We did our first 3 shows. They all went very well. And then the last show, when you're stage managing, usually you have to do something called calling the show. And what that means is you're sitting in like the little booth up like behind the stage. And there's also the lighting operator who's like changing the lights, the sound operator who's doing the sound effects and the music, and maybe somebody else if there are any other like special effects. And you have your headset on and you're communicating with those 2 people, but also with the people doing props and backstage and making sure everything is happening when it's supposed to happen. So you're calling all of the cues. So this lighting cue goes now, this one goes
like
now.
Prompters or something?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, you're on like a speaker that goes to everyone, telling them when to go on, when to click this button. So it can be stressful. You're just reading through the script and saying when everybody needs to go.
And you're the stage manager?
Yes.
Ah.
So that's what I was doing. And it was mostly going well. And then at the very, very end, the last scene, it was very difficult to see the stage and hear what was happening on stage, and also tell the people who were in the room with me because of the way that this theater was set up.
Right.
And at the very end, I guess, the sound operator asked me if they were supposed to press the button now. And I didn't realize that that's what they said. And I responded to them. And then all of a sudden, while someone on stage was speaking, this loud music started playing. And it took me a while to even notice that the music was playing because it was hard to hear. So I was like, oh no. Like we were so close. It was like the last 30 seconds of the last show. And I think, it was okay. It wasn't the end of the world. It was a little weird because there was loud music playing over somebody talking, but I was just very frustrated because it was the only big mistake that had happened in the whole performance. And we were so close to being done. But I still think about it sometimes and I get frustrated, but it's no big deal. I'm sure the audience doesn't remember that it even happened.
Did the audience know that there is something wrong?
I asked some people afterwards, and some people didn't really think it was a mistake, or they were like, oh, I just thought that was how it ended. Or like, oh, I thought the music at the end was a little loud, and it was weird because we couldn't really hear the person. But, I think maybe it wasn't as big of a problem as I thought it was, but it still upset me.
So, where was your position that time? Are you behind the screen or what?
I was in like a booth that was kind of above the audience, and the stage was like in front of me.
Oh, so you were behind the audience.
Behind the audience, but I had to sit sideways,
Okay.
so I could see the stage like from
Okay.
the
Yeah,
side,
yeah, yeah.
and then the lighting and sound people were behind me, so a little weird.
Waduh, ya. Mbak Paris ini ternyata pernah menjadi stage manager yang dia harus mengatur teman-teman yang bekerja di lighting, di sound system, kemudian bagaimana pergerakan dari para performer yang ada di panggung. Nah, pertunjukannya ada beberapa kali, tapi pertunjukan yang terakhir ini yang membuat Mbak Peres ini sampai sekarang tidak lupa, karena itu menurut Mbak Peres ini gagal. Kenapa gagal? Padahal itu hanya sekitar 30 detik atau beberapa menit sebelum pertunjukan itu selesai. Nah, Mbak Peres tadi tidak menceritakan ini why did this happen? Belum bercerita, tapi itu tadi sekonyong-konyong semacam, this is my opinion ya, semacam ada miscommunication or something. I'm not sure about that. Am I right?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
So why miscommunication? Were you and all friends so tired or whatever?
I think it was partially because it was difficult to hear, but also because I think we were so close to the end, and sometimes when you're almost done, you start to get too comfortable, and you're like, oh, it's all good now. Yeah.
Okay. Terima kasih, Mbak. Jadi, now, do your experiences in practicing arts in Oberlin College give inspirations in your life, your career today and in the future?
Should I go first? Yeah. So actually, one of the reasons why I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but I majored in biology at Oberlin, and one of the reasons why I majored in biology is because I have aspirations to become a physical therapist, a PT. Physical therapist. I don't know the Bahasa translation. But I have aspirations to work as a physical therapist in the future because of my experience with dance. I feel like because I have been a dancer for so many years, I have this awareness and desire to learn more about the body and how the body moves and the muscles and bones of the body, how they interact and how they interact in the space around them. We have this term called proprioception, which means the awareness of the body in the space. And I think because of that awareness that I've gained from being a dancer, I want to take that into my career and help people who maybe have been injured, have been in an accident, or have physical disabilities that they need help, like strengthening certain muscles, strengthening certain parts of their body in order to do daily tasks. And I feel like because of my experience being a dancer and also my biology education, that is where I want to take that.
Nah, menarik sekali ini ke para penonton. Jadi Mbak Mia ini kan majornya itu biologi. Dan Mbak Mia ini ketika menari itu dia berpikir bahwa kadang-kadang mungkin ada kecelakaan, ada accident dalam menari, dan dia ingin menjadi terapis untuk para penari yang mungkin sedang kena halangan, keseleo, atau yang bagaimana terkilir kakinya. Itu yang Mbak Mia ingin menjadi terapis. What did you say again? What is it?
Physical therapist.
Physical therapist, terapi fisik. Ya, jadi masih ingat kalau di sports, di soccer itu ada physical therapist juga, tapi untuk sports. Ya, tapi ini untuk para penari. Mungkin nggak pernah terpikir ya kita bahwa di dalam sebuah pertunjukan tari itu kadang-kadang terjadi kecelakaan, there was an experience from my friend here at Balai Budaya. A few weeks ago, he performed Japanese dance, and then he got an accident. He got suddenly he could not walk or something, and then yeah, he could manage it. Then he had to stay at home for a few days, but now he's okay again. Ya, jadi physical therapist untuk terutama penari. Nah, ini mungkin rekan-rekan seniman tari di sini mungkin perlu juga berpikir seperti itu. Mungkin ada, tetapi yang mengkhususkan diri. Oke, itu kira-kira apa sih yang bermanfaat ketika Mbak Mia belajar di biologi dan juga belajar tari bisa menyatukan ini. Terima kasih Mbak. Nah, then Mbak Paris, so do your experience in practicing arts ini give inspiration in your life, your career today, also in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, I also didn't mention this, but at Oberlin College, I was studying creative writing.
Yeah.
And when I chose to study that, I think it came from my love for theater, because I think that writing and theater are very similar in a lot of ways. Like, to me, they're very connected. And at Oberlin, I got to meet a lot of people who were doing theater, but who were also writing plays or writing other things. And I think one of the best things to come out of my experience at Oberlin, and one of the things that I was looking for when I decided to study there, was a creative community of people who are all like going to be doing creative pursuits in the future and might be interested in theater or writing or other like arts. And I feel like I've met a lot of really high achieving people, and I've gotten to see a lot of their work at Oberlin, because I think Oberlin is a very supportive place to help students bring their ideas to life. So I think now I feel like I have a really strong community of people who I can hopefully collaborate with in the future or bounce ideas off of, and that inspires me and motivates me to want to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jadi Mbak Paris ini menghubungkan antara kesukaan dia creative writing dengan teater, karena ini sangat erat hubungannya, teater sama creative writing. Dan Mbak Paris ini sudah bertemu dengan berbagai orang yang punya kecakapan luar biasa, kepandaian luar biasa di dalam teater, dan dia bisa gabungkan, dalam teater itu pasti ada creative writing. Nah, dia ingin menularkan apa itu creative writing itu ketika itu nanti sudah ada digodok bersama-sama dengan pengalaman dia di teater. Oke, nah terima kasih Mbak Paris. Nah, closing statements, 1 or 2 sentences.
Closing statement.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pak Eddie. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come on here and speak about our experience with performing arts at our college, Oberlin College. I hope to collaborate more in the future. And also, I miss you guys. I miss my mom and dad, and Curtis. So I want to say bye to them too.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Paris.
Yeah, I agree with everything Mia said. Thank you so much for having us. It's always nice to talk about Oberlin with someone who's been there. Thank you, Pak Eddie. And thank you, anyone from home who might be watching, live or later. Yeah.
Okay, so actually you are not the first persons coming to Balai Budaya Minomartani, because previously, especially before 2017, every Oberlin fellow itu at least twice or three times I would watch performances here, and even I don't remember which year. One fellow whose name is John Kurtz. John Kurtz. He performed the traditional Japanese drama here.
Wow.
And he was the leading character.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
him.
John Kurtz.
John Kurtz.
So,
Shout
yeah.
out.
Baik, oke para penonton kanal Radio BBM, sudah tidak terasa ini kita sudah 1 jam saya menemani para warga budaya bersama Mbak Paris sama Mbak Mia. Saya bertiga akan pamit mundur karena sebentar lagi nanti ada acara next program itu Harmoni Nusantara. Harmoni Nusantara ini nanti akan berbicara tentang salah satu wilayah yang ada di Nusantara. Tapi daerah mana? Kami nanti akan menunggu kepada host berikutnya. Next week, minggu depan maksud saya hari Selasa depan, saya akan punya tamu. Tamu saya ini yang satu dari Indonesia, yang satu dari Jepang. Yang dari Indonesia ini namanya besok aja ya. Tapi nanti hari Selasa depan itu teman saya dari Jepang dan satu dari Indonesia ini akan berbicara tentang some similarities, beberapa kemiripan dari beberapa peristiwa budaya yang ada di Jepang dan ada di Indonesia. Pasti menarik. So jangan kemana-mana hari Selasa depan. Dan saya yakin apa yang saya bicarakan dengan Mbak Paris sama Mbak Mia itu sangat berguna, bermanfaat. Dan saya mengucapkan terima kasih untuk Mbak Mia sama Mbak Paris. Dan juga saya terima kasih untuk tamu saya Pak Ted Samuel. Pak Ted, he's hiding. He was watching us. Terima kasih. Thanks for coming ke ini. Oke, akhir kalam. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll see you next week. Hari Selasa depan.